Hello, and we are back, and it's a major miracle. At last, after 3 tries, it's me and my awesome friend Victoria Lorient-Faibish. It's still hard for me to say. Do you want to repeat that?
Lorient-Faibish. We're good. Victoria
Lorient,
Lorient-Faibish.
Lorient-Faibish. Um, all right. So, Victoria, you in Panama.
I'm in Panama.
Oh,
The
how
beautiful
amazing!
Panama. So
Okay,
beautiful.
so just want to put it out there. I'm jealous, and when I'm grown up, I want to be you.
Oh, you're so cute. Well, I wasn't able to do this until the pandemic because of the fact that we're now remote. It's something that I can do. But I'll show you what I'm looking at whenever I'm in my little home office, so everyone can really be jealous. But that's what I look at all day long.
Oh, oh, that is divine,
Yeah,
divine,
when I'm
absolutely.
here in this office, which is the master bedroom, like because
Mm,
we have a terrace, this is what I look at, and it's my dream. I visualized it. I
amazing.
I visualize looking at the ocean while working with clients, which is what I'm doing. I look at the ocean while working with clients, and I get to have a vacation in between all of this as well. So I feel blessed.
Yeah. You know, I think it's always important to come back to visualization because
Oh, it's everything.
if you cannot see it, you can't make it happen. If you can't see it, you can't attract it. If you have
Yeah,
to see it.
and you have to really work that muscle. Like I have some clients that have trouble with visualization of any kind, like they can't see, their mind does not conjure up images. So I start with literally feeding them images like, yellow door, red roof, blue sky,
Mm,
purple purple chair. Start to train your mind to see colors, to see images, and then start to create your movie, so to speak, your
mm,
beautiful, like, what do I want to live? And I literally saw this. I
mm.
saw a terrace, I saw my setup, and I saw me looking at the ocean.
Wow, it's amazing. I just learned somewhere that the traumatized brain can't imagine.
Yeah, it is one of the things that can, but not always, happen to people who've experienced trauma. I have a
Mm,
client who that is it. A lot of
mm,
childhood trauma,
mm,
and he just cannot follow visualization. He can't see it. But we've developed a way, because I say to him, the brain is trainable. Neural pathways can
mm.
be created. So the fact that he has buy-in to that truth, that science, he is
Yeah.
starting to understand. I said, can you see a red door?
Mm,
He's like, I can see a red door. Can you see a black dog? He's like, I can see a black dog. Okay. And then we build from there,
mm,
because the
mm.
brain is a trainable entity. The brain is
Yeah.
not static, it's dynamic.
Yeah. And of course, what I work with the whole time is to get to get people to work past their childhood trauma. So there's more than one way to get free from our history, so that it becomes
Oh,
just our
absolutely.
story.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
So
doesn't have to just be visualization, it can be other means as
yeah,
well. Yeah.
many ways, but
Yeah.
for our future, visualization. Oh, I can't say this tonight.
That's okay.
Visualization.
Yeah.
It's not a good second language word. It is so important for where we want to go, whether it is our future, what we want to achieve,
Mhm.
even seeing where we want to go with our relationships, with our. So there's many ways in which we have to be able to see things.
And something else I wanted to say is that you can rewire the past. You can visualize a different outcome from the trauma that occurred. You can, if the person was the victim of somebody coming and doing something to them when they were a little child, and that's part of their, repetitious feeling, a person can visualize a adult self going in there, grabbing the child, and leaving and running on a path to a sanctuary and a safe place. And repeat that. Repeat that. Get visualizing the adult you going in and taking the child you out of that terrible situation and running toward a safe house. And then get to the safe house and visualize an amazing safe house, and do it repetitively. That'll change everything. There is some incredible science about that.
Yeah, that's very powerful because so many of us just wanted to feel safe and nurtured. So it's thank you, Victoria. It's a very powerful
It
exercise to share with
works. It
people.
works. It works.
We're just so much more advanced now with neuroscience and the
Right.
tools it's bringing us. We just suddenly jump there and it's amazing and it's so
Ah,
yeah. I mean, 10, 12 years ago it was not mainstream. It's becoming so mainstream. I'm really thankful for that.
thank goodness. Thank goodness. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna look at a paragraph you wrote from our new book, From Trauma to Triumph, and it's a, there's quite a few things in this paragraph that I think is worth having a conversation about. So let's
Okay.
look at this. So, as I said, we were a family who looked great on the outside. The messaging was, look good on the outside, no matter how you feel on the inside. If you feel down, get up, take a shower, and put on nice clothing. Presentation is everything. And don't ask for help. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anyone. If you need a helping hand, look at the end of your own arm. This last phrase was my father's favorite survivalist motto. This taught me to be overly self sufficient, which had its benefits, but what I learned later in life is that too much self sufficiency is a trauma informed way of being. It is based in a cavernous lack of trust for anyone, and it fuels the need for control at all cost. A highly stressful way to live. It's it's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of your history, part of my history, part of so many people's history that we end up with this relentless looking okay on the outside facade.
I mean, it still is part of how I operate, quite frankly. But at least now I'm more aware that that's what's going on, as opposed to this autopilot survival, survival, survival. And I still, even just last night we went in a car to a restaurant. I have trouble being the passenger of a car. I have trouble. I get anxious that I'm not in control of driving. So it's something that's still, it's like I call it like a foghorn. It's not as close, but I can still hear it.
Yeah.
That's trauma. That's trauma.
You know, I shared in the post that's on Facebook now and YouTube how I had to ask for help because I had to go to the chiropractor. And I am for years telling everybody in the groups that I'm facilitating, ask for help, ask this person, ask that person, ask for help, learn to ask for help. And so obviously now I'm in trouble and
Yeah.
I have to walk the walk and talk the talk. I had to
Totally.
literally force myself to say, who can I phone this time to be the least trouble? And who can
Yeah.
I phone this time to be the least trouble? I mean, let me phone somebody else to be the least trouble.
Wow.
Not and a lot of these people that I gave my time to for free for years, and I'm reluctant to ask, can you pick me up, take me to the chiropractor, bring me back home? Okay, so I do
Wow.
live 40 minutes away from a chiropractor. It does complicate things, but I had to push myself to do that,
Yeah.
and it was not easy. I would like literally do anything except having to do that again.
Yeah. I get that. I get it. I get it. Yeah. Asking for, I mean, let me be very honest. My father, survived terrible war and like a type of concentration camp as a Jewish man in Romania. And so he developed legitimately, if you need a helping hand, look at the end of your own arm, look at the end of your own arm. That's a good thing. So we were taught that to be very self-sufficient, and we were taught to not ask for help because asking for help showed weakness. And it also showed that you were somehow, not able to figure things out on your own. And that was just not something that my family was open to. You better figure it out on your own. Later in life, thank goodness, um, you know, it's something that I kind of train myself to do. It doesn't come naturally. And I still, like you, get the heebie-jeebies when I have to ask for help. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's a very good thing to do. And I
It
hope
is
people,
good.
you know, and also to also teach yourself how to be okay with the no. Like people
It's a
can,
language. Yeah, but it's a
yeah,
language. It's a language that you have to have with yourself
yeah,
before you open your mouth and ask for help. You have to say, why wouldn't somebody want to help me? You have to
right.
psych yourself up. You've got to say, of course, there are kind and loving people in this world who want to help other people. All I have to do is see who's available.
Yeah. And if people say no, I think it's okay. It's refreshing. Be honest. Everyone gets to say no. And that's
Yes,
an okay thing. But it's
yes.
a journey of convincing yourself that the world is not this horrible place, this dangerous place. It's got some danger and it's got some shit, but it's also a good place.
It's like you say, it's really good to be self-sufficient. The, it's the part where we're not in balance. It's the part where we are doing
Exactly.
too much of it,
Exactly.
we will always do for other people, but we just will not ask for help for ourselves. That is the
Exactly.
part
And
where
that's
we,
something that is changing, obviously.
mm,
Right?
mm. Yeah, that's the part. Just to get back into balance and to understand, of course, I'm also worthy of support. Of course, like everybody else, I so freely go and help and support.
Yeah.
Of course, I am also worthy of support. And I also, you know, there's another thing, and again, we bring in a law of attraction to us because if you can't start receiving, whether it is
Mm,
support or a, a meal out or
yeah.
a tray of eggs or whatever, if you can't learn to start taking in, you are literally creating a barrier to receiving good things from other
Oh, I
people.
so agree with that. I so agree with that. Yeah. It really creates a different energetic with the law of attraction. If you're open to receiving, you will then start to receive more. And
Yeah.
people have to normalize that that's something that they have the ability to open up that particular law of the universe
Now,
by being receptive.
if we go back to our childhood, and you come from a childhood where it's not even like you've been taught to be relentlessly happy or look okay, because that's part of it. But there's also the other part of it, of many people's
Yeah.
story where people didn't have the, the opportunity to
Right.
go and ask for help and support. And like I was my mother's support system because my alcoholic father was too much for her. So she would come to me as a 10-year-old, she told me where the keys are if she dies tonight. So
Wow.
she would bring her emotional stuff to me. There was no emotional space for me for emotional stuff.
Right.
If we went
Right.
to my father and he was drunk, I had to take care of my little brother. There was nobody to go to. I couldn't dare. I had to sneak him out of a car to go and find a little bush if he needs to go to the toilet, and
Wow.
do it
Wow.
so
Wow. Wow.
fast, without anybody actually knowing about it because I don't want to be in trouble for that. So
Mm.
you
Such a
just learn.
layering of
Yeah, you just
self-sufficiency.
learn. You are supposed to be the one who has to take this. And then you get in the habit of not asking for help, which sucks. It's stupid. It sucks, but we don't know because we have
You're
done
little.
this from so small.
Yeah, exactly. You're little. You just do what's normal or what's
Yeah.
shown to you as normal, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And then because you did it before you were 7, it is your outlook in life. You just
That's
take
right.
it with you, whether it works or not. It
Your
is just,
worldview is set.
it's set. But I will not,
Changeable, but set.
yeah,
Yes,
it is. Until you become aware, you listen to something like this, you read the right
that's
book,
right.
you go to a counselor, you actually do the work.
See
But
something
if you
different.
don't do that, your worldview is literally everything is my responsibility and I will
Right.
never get support. But why would you ask for support if you deeply, deeply believe you're never going to get support?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And we're carrying around that child, right? That child is in
Mm-hmm.
charge until we truly take care of her and grow the girl, the boy up, child up.
Yeah.
We carry them around. They live, basically they're making choices for us until we make contact with them and start to have an actual relationship with that part of ourselves.
The thing, of course, with this is it's one of the easiest things to reverse once you become available, become aware of it, because all you literally have to do is, from this moment, the next thing you do is go find somebody and ask them for help. Help me move this thing, please. Don't pick it up all by yourself and move it 20 yards without help.
Absolutely.
Would you mind reading this over and give me an input? You can start like baby steps like that. You don't have to ask somebody to take you 45 minutes from home, drive, fetch you, take you back. You don't have to start.
No, not so big. Small
going
steps,
to the
big
chiropractor.
steps.
You can just start asking, would you mind helping me move this water?
Right.
And once you start doing that, you actually change that belief system in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. One step at a time, and also not only one step at a time, building the memory of one little victory at a time. Little success. Oh, I asked for help. It's a positive experience. And then you want to mention that to yourself, and then that starts to build that neural pathway.
Yeah. I want to quickly check here. Just to see what this comment is. Hello. Okay. Right. Okay, so I want to ask you something else, because I am pretty sure that you also come across this. Clients who want to counsel themselves, clients who want to heal themselves, clients who just really find it hard to let go of that reins. And let me give you an example. I had somebody this week who's in deep turmoil, and her entire message to me was about how she's handling it, and she's handling it like this, and she's handling it like that, and it's all okay, and it's all okay, and it's all okay, and it's not okay. And I responded by saying to her, okay, we only have one problem here. You're trying to counsel yourself, and you are being that strong, kick-ass person you've been all of your life, because you don't believe anybody's ever going to support you and be there for you. And you are not supposed to do this by yourself. And let me help you, because you don't have to do all of this by yourself. Do you also get that?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I have gotten it. I get it. I can think of one last week. I can think of, but it's my philosophy that I give people sort of a rundown as to what trauma can do, which is sort of what you did. I stop short of let me help you. I don't. What I end up often saying is, when you're ready for this kind of work, you'll know it. Let me just tell you that what happens to us when we're traumatized is we become overly self-sufficient. It's a trauma response to life. And so you may or may not be experiencing that. And so check it out for yourself. See if that's something that you may or may not be experiencing, because I'm detecting potentially you are. And so when you're ready to really start to be receptive to some of this work, let me know. Let me know. And inevitably they come back and they're like, okay, I see what you're saying, because we're dealing with a lot of our ego too, right? I can do it, which, by the way, listen, you've been your best caretaker, your best caregiver for a lot of your life. So don't take that away from yourself. Just know that what I often say is, hey, I'm a fellow traveler, and to be honest with you, I just have a lantern just a few steps ahead of you, lighting the way. That's the other thing. I'm no hotshot. I got a lantern, and I'm just a few steps ahead of you. That's it. And you're going to be right next to me. What's that?
Yeah, it's very true. I think it's very valid to know that it doesn't matter that you have got a certain kind of experience, a certain kind of training.
Yeah.
We're always still on a learning journey. Sooner or later,
Yeah.
life's going to give me some stuff, life's going to give you some stuff. We need to
Right.
go through another phase of growing and healing and
Yeah.
grieving and growing
Many
again.
layers.
And
Many
yeah,
layers.
and it happens over and over again because that is
Over
how
and
life
over.
is.
Yeah.
Um, it's the you know our problems with traditional psychology is that it doesn't look at all the effects of adult child syndrome, where
No.
it doesn't it doesn't take
No.
into account that,
No.
like in this case where we grew up, you grew up, you just had to look, okay, I had to be the caregiver of other people, and there was no space
Yeah.
for my needs.
Yeah.
And because this is how you grow up without a lot of tools. And
Totally.
no matter how much you have been able to survive and do things differently, and you are still going to need tools. And if your parents have not given you tools, where the heck are you going to get it?
Gonna get them.
Some of us are lucky. We may read a good book and find some stuff in there, but not every single book has got loads and loads of actionable stuff. So
Right.
it's hard to get real help. Traditional psychology
Absolutely.
doesn't, most of the time, does not help us.
I agree. I agree. It's an incredibly uh, powerful thing called um, training yourself to survive this situation that you went through when you had no power is hero's work. It's You're a hero as you're doing this. And
Mm,
so consider yourself like amazing as a human being that you've come through it
mm,
and that you had all these like don't, like I'm always about truly honor that part of you that did everything it could to
mm,
survive.
mm.
It
But
was
get
it's
into balance now and start asking for help. And don't
absolutely.
and don't always
Absolutely.
be bulletproof. Sometimes you can just show up and be a mess. It's fine. And
It's
sometimes
okay. Yeah.
you can show your real true feelings to people. I mean, you should really be able to do that all the time. The more you heal, you should just be able to show up and be yourself and just let it out. That
Yeah.
Let's talk about the fear of judgment, because I don't think we've brought that in, the fear of judgment and how it's
Yeah.
keeping us from asking for help. That's a big one. The fear of judgment when we ask for help.
Absolutely. Well, so I would say that you know shame is one of our first biological emotions to survive. It kept us in our forefathers. Shame was the way for the tribe to keep you in line so you didn't go out into the jungle and die eaten by an animal. So you were shamed into being part of the tribe, be the same, be the same, be the same.
Mm.
And shame has in its origins the survival safety impetus. Unfortunately, shame has now, not now, but over evolution, basically it's a tactic to keep you in line, to keep you from doing and being who you truly are, from doing what you truly desire, and from exposing your authentic self. So you get shamed into shutting down, dimming your light, shutting up, playing small, and all those things, and being judged for your need to express your true self or your need for something because you need help or whatever. And so it's important to learn not to do it to yourself, to
Mm.
shame your own self into, you know, following the old messaging. Be
Yeah,
courageous to bring in, that new messaging, and don't shame yourself in the process. That's
yeah,
you declaring freedom.
because of course, a lot of the shame that is being put on you is not actually even your shame. It's generational trauma. It has
Correct.
nothing to do with you. You are just the next person receiving it.
Right.
Somewhere we've got to stop and say, I don't want to perpetuate this anymore. I don't want to pass this on to another generation. I don't want to pass it on to anybody.
The
near me.
buck
I don't want
stops with you.
to
And
right
you
here.
can decide that. You can decide
Yeah.
if the buck will stop with you or if you're going to go unconscious and pass this shit on to other next generation or other people, other humans.
Yeah, I mean, there is a place for healthy shame. We all have to look at it.
Well, that's right.
You,
Yeah.
yeah, you mess up, and it is healthy for you to feel shame. It's not nice. I'm not saying like, go and look
But
for.
don't you think, though, Louise, it's about, I believe it's not about shame. It's about feeling regret, remorse. You mess up, you screw up, you treat someone badly, whatever. You feel remorse, you feel regret, you apologize, you fix it, you find ways out of it. I feel like the emotion of shame it's like death. Shame is a feeling of death. It's so painful. It's so awful that I find it very difficult to navigate through. I think
Yeah,
it's better. I think there's another version of that where it's healthier. The regret, the
we,
remorse,
yeah, but once you can start looking at shame with compassion for yourself,
mm,
you can just. It is like you can
yeah,
just put
yeah.
it there and be aware of it. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't
Doesn't have to
hold
take
you
over.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't take down anymore. I often reflect, not often, I sometimes reflect. If I think about shame, but in a way, I have shame for how I was before because I was so controlling. And I don't have real shame for it because I do understand from my pain upbringing, from my self protective upbringing, I had no choice. Where's the compassion? You see, where's the compassion?
Right. You had no choice. Exactly.
I had no choice. This was my way to survive, and I didn't know better. So that is how I lived because this is all I knew. But it alienated people from me. Like people who knew me then wouldn't actually even know who I am today.
Mm,
So there's that little bit of regret. It's a pity I can't go relive it. I can't show them that I'm just open and accepting and easier version of me. I'm no angel. I'm still very opinionated and
who the
determined.
hell is?
But it's a so much easier version than the one that was so self-protective
Yeah.
before. I think I was probably labeled a bitch or something because I was just so self-protective, and I was really hurt inside and scared inside, but it just never showed, like you said, that it's just that perfect facade that
Yeah.
that you couldn't see
Yeah.
through. So that little bit of shame that I feel for people who might be judging me today on then, I've learned to park it here next to me and to be aware. There are some people who's never going to want to get to know me today
Mm,
because they knew me there. And that's how far I can go with this. I can't go any further. And I can just come with self-compassion and just say,
yeah. Yeah.
Louise, this was the cards you were dealt. Tough shit.
Yeah.
You had to deal with it. You had to
Yeah.
work.
And
And
also, memory is so subjective, isn't it?
mm,
You know, I have memories of how my sister was of me. She has completely different memories of how she was with me. Other people have different memories of how we were with each other. It's such a subjective experience. It's hard to, people get into such trouble where they're trying to make the other person remember it just the way they experienced it. And it
mm,
rarely works that way. It rarely
yeah.
does.
But it's great to be aware of shame as another way of keeping us from showing up and look for help. And I know a lot of people have the shame of I'm going to look weak. They fear the judgment, and
A shame
they
about
have
that.
been
Yeah.
shamed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have been shamed when we were small. They've been
Yeah.
shamed for being a sissy, for being,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
men, but not only men, have been shamed for
For being
for
looking,
showing
appearing weak. Yeah.
any kind of weakness. So
Mhm.
again, generational trauma, which we need to say, no more. It's not
No
necessary.
more. Yeah. And really redefine what weakness is, maybe call
Mm,
it a different name because weakness has such a loaded definition. Call it vulnerable, call it softer, call it more open, call it more receptive, call it something that is palatable to you. as you
Yeah.
begin that journey.
Well, vulnerable, of course, in its own, there's such a lot of people who are
Also
scared.
loaded,
Yeah,
loaded
until you
word. Yeah.
understand the power of vulnerability, the power when you can be yourself, say to somebody, this sucks, this was hard, this is challenging. I mean, we've both been honest and vulnerable here. Nothing melted, the sun will
Didn't
go up
die.
and down.
Didn't die. Yeah. I have to
Nothing.
say, I call vulnerability, I think, and I'm sure you might agree, the vulnerability, being vulnerable in a relationship is, to me, the only real way that a relationship can actually heal, from mishaps, from problems, from stuff that people do to one another. You're basically saying to the other person, hey, I'm not perfect.
Mm.
Hey, I mess up, and I can apologize, and you're not perfect, and you're safe with me, even though you're not perfect.
Yeah.
You're safe with me, even though you're not perfect.
Yes, because the way that most people do it is the blaming, shaming, judging, withdrawing way,
Yeah.
where it's going to be, yes, but you, yes, but you, yes, but you. Instead of just being open and saying, I mean, this is extreme vulnerability, but sooner or later we have to go there. If you
Yeah.
are never at home spending time with me, um, it may not be that you don't care about me, but it is for me part of my history that I didn't have anybody caring about me. And therefore it takes me back to that childhood um, powerlessness, where
Yeah.
to not have anybody. And this
Right.
is my story, and I need to work for it. I own it. And I do want
Right.
to tell you, but I don't want to feel this in a relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a way of being vulnerable, which like nobody knows how to do this without going into victim, without putting your emotional
Right.
baggage on somebody else. But if you can't get to that level of honesty and owning your shit and sharing it with somebody else, you don't get to true connection.
It's true. It's true. People say, and I have to say, I relate to this. I can only really work my thing out if I cry alone. You know, if I cry alone. That's because when you were growing up, you had a pain, no one was there with you. So you habituated and became used to crying alone and being alone with your pain as the only way through it and out of it and all this stuff. But there's something really powerful about having a witness, someone witnessing, which is why therapy, I think, works, and coaching and all that, is you
Mm-hmm.
have someone witnessing who is trained to be um, neutral, positive, have unconditional positive regard towards you. That's a good way to start, is with a therapist, because they are basically what's baked into their training is you need to have positive, unconditional regard for your client. So you begin there, as opposed to because a lot of people who are not trained will give unsolicited advice, will not know what to say. And if you're that sensitive, and I know I have been very sensitive, that's why I have always started with a therapist or with a friend that has had we've had some rules of engagement conversation. If you're going to start sharing with someone, don't just share it, like, especially if you're hurting from your childhood. um, Curate who you're going to do that with. Curate it so you're not more wounded. So a therapist is a good place. Have a negotiating conversation with a very good friend or with a sibling, that you can develop the rules of engagement for how they're going to receive your pain. Are they
Yeah.
going to receive your pain by giving you advice when you didn't ask for it? Are they going to receive your pain by feeling sorry for you when that does not help? Are they going to receive your pain by just poo-pooing it away and say, suck it up, or, you got this? How are they going to, how you are in charge of teaching them how you want to be heard.
Very
And that's
powerful.
your,
That one.
that's your way out of your own re-traumatization.
Yeah, I think it's worth really helping people through this one, because most of us are only used to a codependent thing,
Right.
shame, and that I shouldn't have, and no, really, oh, shame, poor you. Now it's like where your victimhood is entrenched, and you're not supposed to have your victimhood entrenched. You're supposed to become self-empowered and step into your power and step out of that childhood space in a safe way. But so if you have a codependent person helping you along, a friend,
which
a
is really,
regular
really,
person,
really very common. It's just so
it's
common,
so common. Yeah,
My
it's
sister and I, my sister and I went through the same family, but today we have an incredibly powerfully healthy relationship. But we still have our crap, and the only way to really, really work through this is we have these what I call, pre-qualifying rules of engagement written out before we engage in it, so that people are, it's a landmine. Conversations can feel like a landmine that you're basically, if you don't have awareness or rules of engagement, you're going to blow yourself up. So take care of your being when you're asking for help, when you're sharing your pain, when you're sharing your journey. If it's not with a trained professional, and even the trained professionals can be shitty sometimes, so that's reality.
yeah, it's true.
Vet the person before you go down the rabbit hole of, here's my pain, here's my truth, here's my vulnerability, kind of thing.
Very good advice. Okay, so we're going. We're talking to somebody who feels very vulnerable, who feels very exposed, too scared to find help, too
Yeah.
scared to go to a counselor, so scared of a judgment, so scared you're going to be put into a box. Somebody's going to put a label on you. They're going to want to drug you up. They're going to want to call you some long name. You're never going to escape it. You're going to be branded for life as unacceptable. And counseling is none of that.
Not good counseling, certainly.
No,
not good
not
psychotherapy.
good. No, not good. Look, I do have to be honest. The second psychologist I went to in the first session told me I was controlling. I was like, what? I'm here to tell you I need help.
Yeah.
And you tell me I'm controlling. You don't say to me, this is your way of having safety in the world. It's fine. It's okay. You had no choice. Let me help you find other ways.
That counselor just shamed you.
She just shamed me. I never, after that day, went ever had that label put on me again. I got no help for it, so I remained controlling.
Yeah.
But after that, the next person I went to said to me, you look like such a balanced individual. All I did was learned from the label.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can go to people who are really not skilled enough to help you, unfortunately. But
Gotta do the work of vetting the people in advance.
you have to.
Do they have trauma training? Do they understand shame? Do they understand? Are they, unconditionally positively regarding in their interactions with you? Because one has gone through trauma, one has to be self-advocating in that.
I think we've got a big advantage now. When I originally started looking for help 20 years ago, it was like, let's go to the yellow pages and find a name.
Right.
And you didn't even ask people for help because it was shameful. So it was like,
absolutely,
let me find somebody in the yellow pages, quietly go drive in, hoping nobody sees my car, and hope for this and trust that these people will be able to help you. Now we've got a whole different thing. A lot of people like me and you've got content out, and you can go and watch, you can go and see, do I resonate with this person or not?
Right.
I think that
exactly.
is a good place to go start finding somebody. It's like, is this person real? Are they talking in language which I understand? Are they saying things that relate to my problem?
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely.
It's a very big advantage, and we didn't always have it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I say this to new people all the time. Go to my YouTube channel, go to my website. I've got tens, hundreds of videos of short videos as to how I work. See if you like my vibe. See if you enjoy what it is that I'm putting out there before you engage in it, because you matter, and what you think matters, and how you feel matters, and not everyone's a match for you, and that's okay.
Okay, so let's at this stage tell everybody to read our book, because
Oh yeah,
we are 12 we
such a
are
great
12
book.
different people in. It's a great book, isn't it? There are 12 different people in there who
Yeah.
shared their story, open and vulnerable, amazing people, just
Yeah,
like we've just done, shared their story, their best
shared
tips. I
it.
mean, there's no fluff in it. There's like literally no fluff in it.
Yeah, and also, my God, so revealing. I was definitely nervous about my revelatory aspect to my writing, to my chapter, but everyone's got some very deep work there, so I recommend
Everybody's
it
done
so
it.
much.
Yeah.
If you
And
want, if you want to know, if you feel that you've come up in a situation that is traumatic, shitty, messy, where you feel broken, where you feel like you are not repairable, think again. Every one of these people has been broken. Every one
well,
of them.
everyone. And for
And yet
different
have,
reasons.
for different reasons, and yet have triumphed past
And what's
that
interesting,
brokenness.
no matter what was the cause and what was the story, those tools can be applied. It's
Universally.
it really can be applied universally. I would say read it through and then slowly go back to the
Take notes. Yeah.
notebook. There are questions in there, and did you see that I put 25 extra questions in the front which
Right.
people can download, which I've
Yes, yes,
taken from
yes.
everybody, and which is like I'm so excited about it, because those 25 questions which are coming from
Yeah.
the chapters, those ones are such. There's nothing like a question, isn't it? There's a question
Yeah.
where you can go inside and go like,
Uh,
this thing makes me think.
yeah.
And it gets us out of automatic,
Mode.
just get automatic down that rabbit hole in the monkey mind, in the hamster wheel. It just gets out of our automatic living and become
So
present in our
good.
own life.
Yeah. One of the questions I ask myself and I ask people to pose is, when they're feeling any kind of a pattern or any kind that they observe in themselves, ask that key question. What's this all about? Close your eyes, breathe,
Mhm.
have a notepad in front of you. What do I need? What do I want? And what's this all about?
Mhm.
This thing, whatever this thing is.
I agree with you.
Uh,
It's one of the most powerful questions out there.
yeah. What's this all about? What's this all about?
So here's our book.
Gorgeous book. Nice cover.
And so I haven't updated it. We are still number one new release in at least 6 categories.
Woohoo.
I haven't checked all the categories. Um, we
Wonderful.
are we're still hoping for a few more. I want to advertise it a bit, so I have some people who said they'll review for us, but I do want to ask everybody who has read it so far. They
Please
will,
review.
yeah, please go and put us a. You can just put a. You can literally put the stars there that you want to put. We are hoping for 5. We won't say it
Right?
loud, but we are just,
Yeah.
well, there's only
Sure.
5 stars. There's only 5
Well, it
stars
is a
so far.
5-star book. It's a 5-star
It
book.
is. It's a 5-star book.
5 out of
Absolutely.
5. And
It's a
do a little
5-star book.
review, because it really helps to move that book along.
Yeah. Yeah. But also, I can't advertise until I've got 12 reviews. My
Okay.
problem.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And I think,
we'll get more reviews for sure.
yeah. I think Amazon is also very slow, because I know some people have reviewed and they can go in and they can see it, but it's not
Takes
showing
a
on
few
the.
days. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. But so I don't, most people don't understand how important reviews are to people who are special self published, and how much it helps the person who wants to read it, if you can
Right.
share your experience and how it's been helpful for you. So
Well,
that's
the
really
reviews
important as well.
and the reviews also give a sense of, to the other people that are interested who may have experienced trauma, maybe this is a book I want to take in.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The trust factor is very high with it. Okay, so I don't see any more comments. I think we will. I think we will understand that we are either too early or too late.
Well, I would love to be able to share this also once we've done this.
Yes,
Share it on my
that
platforms and on my YouTube and on my and on my Facebook and everywhere else.
I'll send you the links.
Fantastic.
Okay, great. All right, Victoria, passing words.
Did you say passing words?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Last words.
Last words. Okay, not passing words. Last words.
Mm-mm.
I would say this. You're not alone. You're not alone. You are well accompanied. Anyone who's gone through hell in their childhood, anyone who's gone through trauma, you are not alone. And some of the most prolifically fantastic humans went through that crap to start. It got them ready for life. So I just want you to know that when you read a book like this, it will further give you a sense of community, further give you a sense of non-aloneness. And also, I will say, use your sense of the power of your mind, visualization, to take you out of whatever situation you find yourself in. If that situation is not where you want to be, you can change. You can triumph. You can. No matter where you've come from, it does not matter. You are going to go where you want to go. Where you've come from is irrelevant.
Beautiful words. In the introduction of the book, I think I wrote something like that too. You are not alone.
Yeah.
You're part of our tribe. Yeah. You're part of our tribe. We've all gone through this, and all of any and all of us are there. We've got links. We are all reachable. We are real people. We've got Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, and we are real people. We are out there.
Yeah.
We've got many of our authors already have got other books out. So
yeah,
become part of that tribe. Get to know people who can help you and immerse yourself.
And ask for help.
Yeah, ask for help. Nothing falls off. It doesn't help you. It helped you. And if you don't ask for help, you're taking that pleasure away from somebody else who's waiting.
Who would want to maybe help. Exactly.
Yeah. So we're asking for help. We're asking for help with the reviews, but I also ask that you please go and share. If you come in afterwards, please give us a few more hearts. We like those hearts. Thank you for ones who have given it to us already. I like those hearts there. And share. Somebody needs this. Share it to other bulletproof people out there. And comment, ask questions, reach out to us. We are real people. We are very happy to connect. Thank you so much, Victoria. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's good to receive. You go and you enjoy Panama. And
thank you so much.
Sunshine. Please. And thank you so much for coming. I'm going to play our little song, and then we'll see you in the next video.
All right.